Accessing peace. Existing without violence, with the ability to calmly resolve conflict. Downloading love. An overwhelming, deep, positive affection towards others. Activating liberty. Living your life as you see fit without infringing on the lives of others.
Welcome to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. I am your host, Darryl W. Perry, the Liberty Penguin, the Wombat, the uncut cocaine of libertarianism, and I'm joined in a remote LRN.FM studio by Mr. Rodger Paxton. Rodger, welcome back to the show. It's been a while.
It has been a while, a year and a half or so. It's good to be back, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think the last time you were on was at a Liberty Forum a couple of years ago where I said, oh, crap, I'm supposed to record a show tomorrow. I'm going to be working this booth all day. We're not doing anything for the next half hour. Let's go ahead and record something.
Yeah, it was a great show. I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, and since that time, a lot of stuff has changed with both of our lives.
Yes, for sure.
And that was about the time that I had finished my sort of initial weight loss journey.
Right.
To where I dropped down from 317 pounds to about 172. And it was not long after that you started a weight loss journey. And the reason that I say the initial phase is because keeping the weight off
that's a whole
is a
different
struggle.
Journey. Yeah, it's a different journey for sure.
And it's something that I talked about in a recent episode about, why it seems to be harder to keep the weight off. And I mentioned something called set point theory that I'm not sure if you've heard of.
I have not, no.
To where the theory is, and that's why it's a theory, right, is that your metabolism, as you start to lose weight, your metabolism generally will slow down, especially if you're losing weight by reducing calories.
Right.
So it takes, less fuel for your body to do the thing that you had previously done, and so then your body becomes accustomed to operating on less fuel.
Yeah.
It's would be akin to putting a 3-cylinder engine into your car instead of an 8-cylinder. It's going to have different.
Our bodies
fuel.
are amazing machines, and how they adapt to their environment and what they're taking into themselves. So it's amazing. Our bodies are incredible.
Right, and a lot of this has to go. It goes back thousands of years of hunter-gatherer to where
once a week,
when you had food, your body was like, "All right, great, I have fuel."
Right.
The rest of the time, all right, let's slow down the metabolism and use what we have more efficiently.
Absolutely.
And, that, winds up, again, fluctuating the metabolism, which is part of why it's harder to keep the weight off.
Right.
And a lot of times there's also people that will just do, some sort of fad diet. Ketotarian is a thing that a couple of years ago it was paleotarian,
right.
Which is not the same as a paleo-libertarian. That's something completely different. We're not opening up that can of worms.
Right.
But, yeah, so to some extent, and I think you're on some version of a keto.
I'm on just a straight keto, regular keto diet, yes.
Yeah. And you've been on this for a while, correct?
We started in August of last year, so getting close to a year now, yeah.
Yeah, where a lot of people, they'll go on the, keto or some sort of fad diet for like 30 days.
Right.
That's why Whole 30 is a thing.
Exactly.
To where, oh, no, you're only doing it for 30 days.
Right. Anybody can do
it's only 30 days, and then they fall off.
Yeah. Well, and, the thing about a diet is that if you don't keep it up, it's not going to give you the results you need. And that's the thing about keto. The reason I went to keto is because it's a diet that I can not only lose weight on, but it's a diet that I can maintain my weight on because I love meat. I love cheese. I love those types of products. And I can continue maintaining my weight when I get to my desired weight on that type of diet and still be happy and satisfied. So that's why I'm doing keto.
Yeah.
Now, I do miss bread. Don't get me wrong. I miss bread. Every once in a while we cheat. We actually had 2 cheat days between August and until about 2 weeks ago. We had 2 cheat days. But now, the last week or so, we've kind of been cheating because planning for Pork Fest has been kind of busy and stressful. It's much harder to eat a full keto diet when you're busy like this. But other than that, we've been really good. And I've lost 85 pounds on it. My wife has lost 75 pounds on it, and it's been incredible for us.
Yeah, and that's just amazing seeing, people that I care about wind up, getting in shape themselves.
Well, and you were a big inspiration for that. I mean, it was you and Penn Jillette are the two that really got me inspired to do this. And then Brett Bittner is the one that got me really started on keto because he was doing keto and had great success. Even turned his diabetes back. I mean, he was diagnosed with diabetes and completely removed his diabetes from a keto diet. That's incredible to me.
Right. And, I remember when the paleo diet seemed to be really big in libertarian spheres. And one of the reasons that I never really, went on board with the paleo is because the people said, oh, yeah, you can't eat fruit because fruit has sugar and you have to stay away from everything that has sugar. You cannot even look at a banana.
Well, and that is a struggle for me because obviously carbs and sugar, is carbs. That does have an interesting effect on your body when you're trying to go through a keto diet. You get into this thing called ketosis where your body is basically, instead of burning carbs that you're intaking, it's burning your own body to make you lose the weight so quickly. And, the more carbs you eat, obviously the less of an effect that you're going to see from that. So, I do miss some sugars. I do miss fruit. I used to love fruit. So I miss some fruit. But, man, I can just, fry up a steak in a few minutes, throw it on the oven, and then stick it on the broiler. 10 minutes later, I've got a fat, juicy steak I can eat. Okay, I'm okay with that. I'm not going to complain.
Right. And I think one difference between where I am now and where you are is I'm doing a lot of physical activities.
Right. I'm not there yet.
And that requires carbohydrates.
It does, absolutely. And once I get to that point, that's where I may have to reevaluate, raise my carb intake a little bit, because right now I'm less than 20 grams of carbs a day. That's pretty hard to maintain.
Yeah, that's very low. So that's not a no carb. And there are some people that were on, like the paleo thing, they're like, you cannot have any carbs at all. You
can't possibly eat without getting some carbs in your diet. It's impossible to do. I mean, vegetables have carbs. I mean, there's almost everything has some carbs in it. But limiting that is very easy to do, and it still keeps your body in ketosis.
Right.
So less than 20. I usually strive for about 15, and I usually meet that most days, but I'm always below 20, except for the last week. But yeah, it really makes, and it's interesting though. The last few weeks, I have not lost weight. But I've switched to this. We're eating one meal a day. We're on basically a daily fast.
Okay, so you're doing basically intermittent fasting.
Right. And since I've been doing,
but you're doing an extreme version because I've heard, and we'll get into this a little bit more. But I've heard that intermittent fasting could be simply eating all of your food within an 8-hour period. And then you go 16 hours without having any caloric intake. Again, we'll jump into that. And yeah, there's more coming up here on Peaks Love Radio.
You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Namecheap, Spendabit, and Amazon at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. Or you can shop directly from FPP with Bitcoin in the Bitcoin store. That's shop.fppradio.com. The Doublespeak Dictionary by Leslie Starr O'Hara satirizes the marked difference between the ideal of we the people and the reality of we the elite, while offering an insightful glimpse into the clockworks of the totalitarian mind. Ever irreverent but never irrelevant, the Doublespeak Dictionary serves as a subversive and humorous but timely reminder that the emperor has no clothes. The Doublespeak Dictionary is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry. Online at fppradio.com.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. Online at fppradio.com. Here in the remote LRN.FM studio at ForkFest 2018. Now, I'm not sure if I will actually be able to get this uploaded before ForkFest is over. If I do, then this is the Monday show. If it's not, then, well, I'm not really sure what day it is. But it's Darryl's joined by
Rodger Paxton.
Rodger Paxton from Pax Libertas Productions. And we'll get back into the discussion about weight loss, intermittent fasting, etc. But first, I want to make sure that I tell you about a website, especially if you're a crypto user. a website that you need to know about and hopefully wind up making use of, and that would be Spend-A-Bit. Spend-A-Bit is a search engine for things that you can buy with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. They've aggregated millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Spend-A-Bit. Use my affiliate link, spendabit.fppradio.com. And if you're a Bitcoin-accepting merchant like I am, ask about their merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.fppradio.com. And I notice Rodger laughing at my hand gestures.
Right.
And yes, I do those even when nobody is around.
That doesn't
still
surprise me a bit.
talk with my hands. It's something that Darryl does occasionally, as well as referring to myself in third person. So, yeah, we've been talking about intermittent fasting and losing weight and, changing lifestyles. And that's really the way to wind up losing the weight, keeping the weight mostly off.
It's definitely a lifestyle shift, and you have to start that lifestyle shift in your brain because that's where it starts. And from there, then you can take it and do what you want to with it.
And you mentioned Penn Jillette being an inspiration, and that was really the sort of catalyst that I needed to start my weight loss journey, was listening to a random episode of Penn Sunday School. I was doing something in the not mobile LRN studio, and I just happened to have, had the headphones turned up a little bit to where I could hear what was on LRN, and it happened to have been Penn Jillette talking about how he wound up losing, 80 pounds in 90 days?
Yeah, incredible amount.
And he was under doctor's supervision. His diet was restricted to less than 1,000 calories, and
first 2 weeks was nothing but potatoes, raw potatoes for 2 weeks.
Yeah, he didn't mention that on the podcast, but apparently that was in his book that I have not read, but I've heard other people talk about. And so I decided, all right, well, if he can lose a bunch of weight, then I can lose a bunch of weight. And so I sort of made a plan to March 20th, 2015. I am changing my diet. I'm going to start juicing and this and that. And the juicing only lasted a few weeks because juicing is a pain in the butt.
It's so difficult. It's a lifestyle that you can't maintain, and that's what's so important about a diet. It has to be a lifestyle that you can maintain, or you're not going to succeed with it.
And there's absolutely no way on earth to juice a cucumber to where it does not taste like dirt.
I've never tried. So
it's not possible.
Right.
Cucumbers are just absolutely disgusting anyway.
Now, I love cucumbers. A little bit of salt, maybe some butter. I do love a good cucumber.
Yet another thing that I found out that I disagree with Rodger Paxton on today. So earlier today when we were recording Free Talk Live, we discovered that we disagreed on some minutia of whether or not you can hug someone that is about to commit suicide in an attempt to cause them to want to live longer.
Right.
That's a complete different discussion. Again, you can find that archive, freetalklive.com. But let's get back to talking about the intermittent fasting, to where you said that you eat 1 meal a day.
We eat 1 meal a day. It's usually between 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So we'll eat this, and it's a fairly large meal. We get all of our calories in that one meal.
Right.
And then we don't have another meal. We will drink water, but no other meal until that next day at the same time.
Are you consuming any calories?
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, we're eating a good... No, during the day.
But other than that...
Water, that's it.
So just water, you're not having, any kind of vitamin C added to the water? Are you taking any nutritional supplements?
I'm not. It's something that, you and I have talked about. It's something I'm looking at. I know that you guys, Free Talk Live had a sponsor that does some supplements. It's something that I probably should be doing, but I'm not, because I feel like I'm getting some pretty good nutrition from the meals that we do choose, because we do choose meals carefully, especially when you're only getting one a day. You have to be careful. So I think that I'm doing okay, but it's certainly not going to hurt to supplement.
It might be a little bit more important for me since there are things that I don't eat.
Right.
But there for a while, I was just going down to either CVS or Walgreens and buying a bunch of different vitamins.
Stuff,
And then when I heard one of these advertisements, like I had heard it multiple times for the Whole Food Multi-Complete. They're not a sponsor of this show. But I decided, all right, you know what? I'm going to take a look and see what they have and compare that to what I'm taking from, all of these various supplements. And it wound up being more supplements plus higher levels of some of the things that I was taking. So as far as what I was consuming, it wound up just making sense for me to start taking the Whole Food Multi-Complete.
Well, it's something that we need to do, especially when we're on this intermittent fasting stage. But I tell you, the interesting thing about intermittent fasting is my weight loss has slowed down because naturally, I've lost so much. Now I'm in a slower down phase. But my body keeps changing.
Right.
Because we take our measurements once a month, our body measurements, and my body keeps changing and getting smaller even though my weight loss has slowed down. And a lot of people who have intermittent fasting say that that's a byproduct of intermittent fasting. I'll take that byproduct every day because my body's getting smaller.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that is often referred to as a non-scale victory.
Right.
Meaning that, all right, maybe the scale says that you weigh 2 pounds more, but you're able to fit into a T-shirt that you've not previously fit into. You're
lost
wearing
2 pant sizes.
You're wearing a size pants smaller than what you were a month ago.
Yeah, I lost
but
3
the
pant
scale
sizes
says
and 2 shirt sizes in a few months.
Yeah, and there's a fitness podcast that I listen to that I've mentioned on this show before. So This is Fitness. And the host of that show, he is a personal trainer. He also wound up losing a lot of weight. He lost 130 pounds. His wife lost about 100 pounds. And they talk about their fitness journey. And he says, don't forget to celebrate those non-scale victories because a scale is good at doing one thing, weighing what is on top of it.
Right.
The scale doesn't know if it's a 50-pound human or if it's 50 pounds of concrete. It just knows the thing that is on me right now weighs 50 pounds. And we'll jump in more here, continue the conversation, and, of course, you can find us online, fppradio.com. And again, not sure if this is coming out on Monday, coming out on Friday, coming out sometime in the middle of the week. Stay tuned. There's more Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
It is the year 91,001 BCE. Witness humanity's origins in Hyperchronius, a classic role-playing game for Windows PCs with a story like no other game before. A liberty-oriented experience that is not to be missed. Go to zog.ninja to get your copy of Hyperchronius today. Use the code FPP to get $1 off. Hyperchronius, zog.ninja, code FPP.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerary supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com.
This is Will Coley of the Call to Freedom, and you're listening to Darryl W. Perry on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
Hey, welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. I am your host, Darryl W. Perry, the Liberty Penguin, the Wombat, the uncut cocaine of libertarianism. And before we continue the conversation, I want to make sure that I tell you about some really good technology. Technology, Roger, that I know that you use.
I do.
It's technology that I use, and that would be Zencash. What exactly is Zencash? Well, they're an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communication, data, and value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 11,000 secure nodes, approaching 12,000.
I have 2 of those.
Zencash has one of the most distributed secure node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. And the Zencash wallet itself is available in multiple languages for multiple platforms. We're talking Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com. Now, Roger, you've read several white papers.
Yes,
on cryptocurrency.
Cryptocurrency white papers, probably at least a couple of dozen, if not closer to 3 dozen.
And how many of those have mentioned voluntary interaction.
Not a single one, except with one exception, Zencash. And it says it 7 times when I counted.
Yeah,
and
that's why I say no less than half a dozen.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are people. That's what I say on my
They also
show.
mentioned secession.
Right. Absolutely. They are, without a doubt, our people. I have 2 secure nodes on their network to help, solidify that network. And also, I get paid a little bit of Zen to do that. And I love the product. It's the most exciting cryptocurrency, the one I'm most excited about anyway. It's incredible stuff.
It's amazing. Zencash.com and that Zen faucet. It seems to be back up.
Yes.
GetZen.cash is the website for that, or Zencash.com to learn more about Zen Cash. And Rodger, I'm not sure what is buzzing around
It's
and
a big
hitting
fly.
me in the back of the head. Fly, not a
It's
bee
just a fly.
or
It's just a fly.
mosquito
One of those
or a
big,
wasp
fat
or
brown
something. As long as it's not a wasp, because I generally have bad reactions to those. And free aid's not here yet.
Not yet.
So hopefully I don't wind up needing any free aid here at Forkfest, because they're not here.
No. They will be in 2 days, though, so you should stick around. Not if you get stung, though. Of course.
Yeah, I don't want to be laying here in anaphylactic shock for 2 days
Right.
waiting on medical attention. But speaking of, well, hopefully we don't need medical attention for any of the weight loss that we've had. Now, have you had any, doctor supervision on your journey at all?
Other than going in and getting my all of my blood work done, and because I'm on blood pressure medication, and I'm also on cholesterol medication as well. So, getting that checked and making sure I'm good there, making sure my blood pressure levels, because that's one thing. If you lose weight rapidly, your blood pressure, levels can come down.
Right.
And if you're still taking that medication, it can cause some serious issues. So I've been really careful with that. So not like direct supervision, but I definitely go see the doctor more than I used to.
Yeah, and I've considered having blood work done. I've just never actually done it.
My cholesterol levels have come, and I'm eating meat constantly, meat and cheese, and my cholesterol levels have come way down already.
Hold on, so you're eating cheese. I've heard that cheese was like a no-no on a paleo, keto,
it may be on
sort of
paleo,
something.
but keto is very cheese-friendly, absolutely. Matter of fact, it's also dairy-friendly as well, because I put heavy whipping cream in my coffee. That's what most ketoers do if they drink coffee, because, non-dairy creamer and things like that have lots of carbs. Heavy whipping cream, not a bit. You just drop it in.
And do you do the bulletproof coffee at all?
I do not. I enjoy that stuff, but it's too costly, and I drink too much coffee, so there's no way that I can keep up with that with my money.
Right, because from what I've heard, the bulletproof coffee, you're shoving like a stick of butter inside.
Basically.
A cup of coffee, and then like half of a coconut oil, and like that's a lot of stuff.
It is.
And coconut oil's not cheap.
It's delicious coffee, though. It really is. But I'll get some when I
Well, the
want a
problem
treat.
is it's coffee.
Yeah, well, I love coffee. So, and it's interesting. I didn't drink a lot of coffee until I started the keto diet. That's when I really started, because it helps keep you regular. Because when you're eating a lot of meat and cheese, obviously you're not as regular as you want to be in some areas. So that really helps a lot.
Right. So, that's one of the things with me, to where I wind up actually adding fiber into my smoothies.
Right.
To make sure that I stay regular, because, and not to get, too graphic here, but there was a period of time in, I think it was like October of 2015, to where I just happened to have realized it's been like a month.
Wow.
And like I miss that happening, and I didn't necessarily feel constipated, but it was one of those things of, this is not healthy,
Right.
and so I just went and ate like an entire bag of prunes.
That'll do it.
No, one would think. But I ate a bag of prunes and drank like a gallon of cranberry juice, and it was still difficult.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, you
and
must
so
have
I
been really
started
backed up.
adding fiber, like added fiber into my diet to make sure that I am able to go. And here, being at the campground and not having my smoothies every morning,
It's much more convenient for you, I'm sure. So you don't have to run to the, We get the point.
I've not been regular. So, whenever I get back into Keene and I finally have one of my smoothies, then, hopefully it'll sort of, regulate me a little bit more.
I don't want to be in the Yellow Ren Studios when that happens, so just saying.
Oh, well, the bathroom is upstairs.
Okay.
So, the smell doesn't go down. Smell travels up. So, we should be good on that, but you should definitely stop by the LRN studio at some point.
Well, I've been there once. I haven't been back since. When we were moving up here, we stopped in. And haven't been back since.
Maybe after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, you could just take the long way home. We'll talk about that in the closing moments here on Peace Love Liberty Radio.
This November, I'll be running the world's biggest and most popular marathon, the New York City Marathon, as a member of Team Innocence Project. The Innocence Project was the first legal organization to systematically apply DNA testing to cases of wrongful convictions as a powerful tool to reveal innocence. Tony Wright is a perfect example of the power of DNA. The Innocence Project litigated for almost 6 years to get the court's permission for DNA testing. Tony had been incarcerated for nearly 25 years in Pennsylvania and narrowly escaped the death penalty. Tony's case, sadly, is not unique. Empowered with the unequivocal proof of innocence provided by DNA technology, the Innocence Project has litigated hundreds of wrongful conviction cases, leading to the exoneration and freedom for more than 180 people through DNA testing. Overall, there have been 356 DNA exonerees in the United States who were wrongfully imprisoned for more than 4,875 years in total. You can help support the Innocence Project and help me secure my race entry in the New York City Marathon by going to run.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. I am your host, Darryl W. Perry, the Liberty Penguin, the Wombat, the uncut cocaine of libertarianism, joined by Rodger Paxton of the Lava Flow and Pax Libertas Productions, the Lava Spurt, Resist the Empire podcast, and I'm probably forgetting something here. Yes. Essential Libertarianism, audiobook narrator. How many audiobooks have you done now?
I have 2 up, and I'm working on my 3rd one now.
Okay, which ones?
So the first one I did was one on cryptocurrency. It was called The Art of Cryptocurrency.
Okay.
The second one was Neither Bullets Nor Ballots by Carl Watner, Essays on Voluntarism, and now I'm working on Carl Watner's book on homeschooling, and it's a fantastic read.
And you homeschool your children.
We homeschool both of ours, yes. Unschooling, actually radical unschooling.
Yeah, so talk about that for a little bit.
So radical unschooling is basically just, it's self-directed learning is really a better term for it. Unschooling sounds kind of woo-woo. But the children direct what they want to learn. And I find more often than not, they want to learn things I never would have thought that I would want to teach them or that I would ever think to teach them. My oldest, taught himself to read playing video games because he wanted to learn what the video games were trying to tell him with these funny-looking characters. So he taught himself to read doing that.
Right, and that's one of the best stories that I've heard about how this, radical unschooling thing, because, sort of the straw man argument is, well, if you just let your kids do whatever they want to and learn whatever they want to, then they're just going to sit there and play video games all day, and they're not going to learn nothing.
My kids do spend...
They're not going to learn nothing, Roger.
My kids spend an inordinate amount of time playing video games. They really do. But they also spend a lot of time learning through those video games and through other mediums as well.
They're just going to play the Minecraft, and they're not going to learn how to, make squares or rectangles or
nothing.
You sound like
my mother.
But, that is sort of the argument. But
It is.
As you said, your kid taught himself to read that he could find out what the computer was telling him.
Right.
But when you're doing Minecraft, and I don't necessarily know all the ins and outs of it, but you get to build things, and you have to figure out how to do.
If you're building big structures, you have to learn math. You got to count your blocks and figure out. There's so much involved in video games, but it's not just video games my kids are learning from. They watch a lot of YouTube. They learn an awful lot from YouTube. And we also go down the Google rabbit hole, several times a week on whatever topic they're wanting to learn more about that they heard about on their video game.
Well, what's their favorite YouTube channel?
Well, I wish I could tell you. I don't even know, to be honest. I don't watch much YouTube with them because that's their personal time. That's their own thing. But we'll, if they hear something that they want to know more about, we go through the Google rabbit hole on it and just tear it apart.
So I'm going to throw out 3 YouTube channels: Smarter Every Day, The Slow Mo Guys, and How Ridiculous.
I subscribe to the first 2. I've never heard of it before.
Check it out. We'll be back on Friday answering your questions. ama.fppradio.com.
The podcasts of FPP Radio are licensed under Copy Heart. We believe that copying is a form of flattery and do not abide by the copyright laws. Those laws serve to restrict the flow of ideas which no one can really own. Copying is an act of love. love is not subject to law. If you enjoy the show, consider joining the Fans program and get perks like ad-free versions of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio and FPP Radio News, and also get a copy of the monthly newspaper FPP News. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.